choir, and appreciate your service. Said just about every week that I'm up here, it seems like every week anyway, that we have a tremendous resource here in our music program. It's certainly worth the price of admission, right? Well, I've got three things that I want to accomplish today. One is to deliver this sermon, the message. I've got some personal stories about faith, and then a meditation. I'm going to rearrange my schedule and do the stories first because I've read the sermon and I know how it ends. I think this will be a lot more fun to hear about. Just wanted to share things that have happened maybe in the last 3 years since coming to Unity and since joining the center. And so I'll go quickly, but some things that have happened to me that I think have impacted or changed my view of faith. Almost 3 years ago, right now, I was getting ready to go to a retreat, a prayer chaplain retreat. So I did a little turn as a prayer chaplain. We were at the Mount Olivet Retreat Center in Lakeville. Peggy and Jeff were heading up the program at the time. Peggy said, get there early, there's walking paths, there's a labyrinth, you really want to take advantage of the scenery. So I did. I got there, was able to get there about an hour early. And other people were checking in, and I was just determined I was going to go walk by myself. I was going to do the meditation stuff. So I just started walking down this road and into the woods. It seemed like the right place to go. There wasn't really any signs or anything. And when I got into the forest, the wooded area, I stopped and I set the intention that I just said, Spirit, give me a sign, help me with some direction. I've been studying law of attraction for 10 years. I have a degree in philosophy. I'm very interested in Greek and Roman mythology. Now I've come to Unity and I'm studying some Unity things. But things have not perhaps progressed the way I think they should. So I was asking for some direction on, what's my purpose? Is this the right path? And so as I was walking around, the paths aren't marked very well. And I was getting a little frustrated because you could walk a little way, the path wasn't that worn, so I'd walk a little way and go, no, that's not right, and I'd have to backtrack. And I'm thinking, I'm going to get lost in this forest here. And there weren't very many signs. And then plus, we were meeting at 6 o'clock, and so I was afraid I was going to be late. And I was walking, and all of a sudden, in a very loud voice, I heard, just keep walking. And I went, huh? Where did that come from? I think it was my voice, it was in my head, but it was very loud and it was a command. It said, just keep walking. Excuse me. So, that was very moving, a very profound experience. I didn't get the answer I wanted. I wanted something a little bit more of go left or right, but I got this, just keep walking. Within minutes, I was on a clearly marked path. I was out of the woods, got to the meeting 5 minutes before started. It was like it was meant to be. It was just a perfect experience. Right around the same time, I got a gift from a friend, a free tarot card reading at Horse in the Uptown area. And wow, these people are extremely skilled. And I got the full treatment, the past and present and future. So we were there for quite a long time, an hour, and it was just so uncanny how accurate this person was and what was going on in my past and present. And so we're putting out the cards for the future, and he plopped down a card that has all these trees on it. And I don't know much about tarot cards, but there are a bunch of trees. There's a little castle kind of in the back end, and you can he said, I don't know what your future is. Asking the same question, should I go back into fundraising? Should I stay in sales? Should I pursue spiritual teaching? And he just said, just keep, he didn't say just keep walking. That would have just blown my mind. But again, I didn't get feedback. But I had two experiences that for me were very spiritual, and they were the same message. So even though it wasn't what I wanted, I went, wow, this is getting kind of crazy. Then, just about Thanksgiving, I was reading an article on Facebook. I've been known to spend a minute or two on Facebook. And the article is about angels, guardian angels, and spirit guides. And the gist of the article was, it just said, if you need help, ask. They're there for you, just ask. They're not going to jump in, so you got to ask. I literally did this. Okay, if you're up there, and I don't know why, we still go, if you're up there, but I literally went, if you're up there, show me that you're there, show me an unmistakable sign that you are my spirit guides, you're my angels, and you're here to help me. 2 days later, I'm driving my car, and a car goes flying by, just about blew my doors off, and the license plate was alphabet, 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 444. And I went to kind of turn the volume on the radio, and it was 4:44 in the afternoon, and it was 44 degrees. I was on the 4400 block of County Road 42 going east. And I was aware of all of that. A couple days later, I came in here to make my prayer chaplain calls. There was someone in the kitchen, so I grabbed a cup of water, went in to say hi, and it was Shelley Leahy. Most of you know Shelley, a member, former member. She was doing the janitorial work at the time, and I was looking out the window drinking a cup of water. Her license plate is alphabet, 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 444. And I went, no way, Shelley, let me tell you this story. I'm driving down the road in 444, and she goes, wait right here, and she ran out to her car. She had just gotten her license plates, and she went to the DMV and asked for a license plate that had 3 consecutive numbers, and she didn't really care what the numbers were. The lady at the counter just thought she was goofball, and it was no help at all, and turned around and went to the manager. After quite a while, the manager came back with a plate that had 444 and said, here, gave her a sheet of paper. So Shelley comes running in from her car, and she says, I'm supposed to give this to you, John. Okay. This is number sequences from the angels by Doreen Virtue. 444. The angels are surrounding you now, reassuring you of their love and help. Don't worry, because the angels' help is nearby.
Wow.
I defy anybody to say that was just a random statistical accident. So that was, so I see triple digits on license plates all the time now. So now it's like, okay, well, what does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean? But this has all happened in a period of a couple months. Fast forward to last summer, I was out doing some delivery work, walking through Richfield, and I came up to a house, in between a house, and there's a hawk sitting there. And I'm like, and I'm sure I'm more scared than it, but it just sat there and it was looking at me. And I thought, is it going to do anything? Am I okay? Should I move? And then I kept walking, and it would kind of hop houses, but it was kind of following me. And it went up into the tree, but where I could see it. And then it went and sat on the light pole right above where my car was parked. So, you're into animal totems and all that, and I know I pasted it on Facebook, I posted it, and I think Lee Peterson saw it, and he said, yeah, they're supposed to be good luck if you see a hawk. So I'm also looking at all these signs and symbols. So about 18 months ago, I'm driving in my car, and all of a sudden I see flocks of birds. And it's not just that there are a lot of birds, but like I would turn and go down a different height. It just seemed like they were with me. They were flying with me. And I have a friend who's kind of into animal totems and all that, so I texted her and said, wow, all these birds out here, what do you think it means? She texts back, John, it's spring. Have a nice day. So not everything's a sign, not everything's a... So I chose the topic today, you gotta have faith. And you guys are so well read and educated, it's really kind of daunting to think about what someone could come up and speak about and talk to you. Kiss up to the audience. Come on. So I picked a subject that would be a lot newer to me. But I know there are a lot of people here that are newer to Unity and newer to the concept. So I'm going to go back and do a little bit of a history lesson. So bear with me a little bit, because this conversation, this message is a lot about Charles Fillmore, the founder, and what he said that faith was. So backing up, Charles Fillmore co-founded Unity in 1889 within the New Thought movement. Founded Unity as a positive, practical, progressive approach to Christianity based on teachings of Jesus Christ and the power of prayer. Today, if you've been to the website, you know that Unity is guided by universal spiritual principles. We honor the universal truths in all religions, and we respect each individual's right to choose a spiritual path. Fillmore taught the effective daily application of the principles of truth and promoted a way of life that leads to health, prosperity, happiness, and peace of mind. I think that's the practical part. He believed that all people can improve the quality of their lives through thought. So that may be new to some of you. That's the positive part. He thought our purpose in life was to express or realize our divine potential. Jesus was a master teacher or a way shower on how to do this. Now we at Unity recognize that there are other way showers and we respect other way showers, but Fillmore certainly used Jesus as his example. So Fillmore interpreted the Bible as a metaphysical representation of each soul's evolutionary journey towards spiritual awakening. So we're most interested, it's not a literal interpretation of the Bible. There's symbols and metaphors, there's meaning beneath the words and meaning beneath the meaning in many cases. And that's what we're digging into. For Fillmore, spirit or God is spiritual energy and is the inherent force in intelligence everywhere. At Unity, we pray differently. You might have seen that already. We use affirmative prayer. And affirmative prayer is holding in mind statements of spiritual truth, and we release negative thoughts. The mind is renewed and the body transformed through prayer. We pray with the belief that we already have received all that we need. We're conscious co-creators of our own lives, and to Fillmore, this is the highest form of creative thought. So Fillmore wrote a book called The 12 Powers of Man in 1930. And in that, Fillmore tells a story or talks about Jesus as he was realized and fully expressed his divinity. And so Fillmore said that Jesus possessed 12 spiritual abilities or powers. But you want to make clear that all these powers are present in us. We all have them. We don't have to do anything to earn them. Jesus was a son of spirit, a son of Mother, Father, God, just as all of us are. So Jesus said, all the things that I have done, you can do and more. So even he acknowledged that we all possess these abilities, powers. So they are love, faith, understanding, wisdom, imagination, zeal, strength, will, life, power, renunciation or elimination, and order. Now there's a metaphysical importance to 12. 12 is considered a perfect number, demonstrating spiritual foundation, spiritual perfection, and completion. According to Fillmore, if you discover how to put these 12 powers to work, you will create the life of your dreams. Even more interesting, Fillmore saw the 12 disciples as representative of one of each of these powers. You believe that each disciple manifested one aspect of the Christ more perfectly than any other and connected that power to the disciple. So for the 12 powers, they connected to a disciple, a month, a part of the body, and even a color. I'm not going to go into all of that. That could be another subject some other time. But for faith, you may know that the disciple was Peter. The month is January. The location is the center of the brain or the pineal gland, and the color is blue. Okay, so now you have an understanding of what I'm talking about when I talk about 12 powers, and that faith is the first among equals, but the first and most important part of the 12 powers. So let's ask the question, and what is faith? If I asked you if you were aware of something, is that faith? Our first principle, there is only one presence and one power active as the universe and as my life, God the good. And if I said, I'm aware of that, would you believe that I had faith? No, probably not. So is faith knowing then? Knowing is perceiving as a fact or truth. If you perceive something clearly, you know it. Principle number 2 for unity, our essence is of God, therefore we are also inherently good. If I said I know that, does that sound like faith? It's a little bit better, but it's still not there. So what if I said I understand this principle? Third principle, we are co-creators with God, creating reality through thoughts held in mind. I grasp the significance of that. I'm thoroughly familiar with that concept. I can apply that in my daily life. Do I have faith? Again, a little bit better, but no, that's still not faith. And Fillmore talks about intellectual faith. You cannot get to faith based on logic or facts. And I gotta tell you, that's pretty frustrating for a Virgo who's taken every test in the world that says I'm analytical and reflective and theoretical and I'm linear. You can't get to faith by just understanding and learning the concepts. So 4, is faith about believing? Believing I have confidence in something, I'm giving credence to something. So I use the 4th principle. Through prayer and meditation, we align our heart-mind with God. Is belief the same thing as faith? It's pretty close now. Many definitions of faith that I read included a strong belief, or a firm belief, or a belief with a strong conviction. So there's always a qualifier. So yes, it's belief, but it's the strongest, highest belief that you can express. So faith implies a certitude, without question. Faith is the highest expression of belief or confidence. But there's still something missing. In unity, we believe and understand in a new thought philosophy that we create our own reality through thoughts held in mind. And a thought combined with a feeling sets the process of creation into operation. Feelings and emotions constitute the vital element that gives thought or mental action its creative quality. So faith has 2 parts. First of all, firmly believing something to be true without question. But Fillmore adds that there's a part called trust. So you can believe, but you also need to trust or rely on the fact that something is true. And they give a perfect explanation of what that means. When you walked in the door today, you saw a bunch of chairs. You know chairs. You believe chairs. The trust comes in when you sit down on it. Is it gonna hold your body? So what a nice metaphor again for faith is that we can believe in something, but we also have to trust or rely on it. Unity principle number 5 is through thoughts, words, and actions, we live the truth we know. I believe that and I trust that, and therefore I can say I have faith in that. And if you're not a member of Unity with the history of Fillmore and now the 5 principles, you don't need to take the new member class. If you'll just raise your hand and say, I do, you can join right now. So let's talk about the importance of faith then. Of all the 12 powers, Jesus spoke most frequently of faith. He said, have faith, believe, trust. Hebrews 11:1, faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. Faith is that quality in us which enables us to look past the appearance of lack, limitation, difficulty. We take hold of the divine idea and we believe in it, even though we may not have any evidence of it except for it's in our mind. Through faith, we know with an inner knowing. So again, qualifiers, but there's an emotion here when you know something and you know it like you know it, and it's an inner knowing. The truth that has not yet expressed itself in our manifest world. So through faith we know with an inner knowing the truth that has not yet expressed itself. When we have faith based only on information gathered from our physical senses, we're using the power in a limited way, and the results will come accordingly. We determine the direction of our faith. You can have faith in negative thoughts too, just as much as you can have faith in positive thoughts. Or you can have faith in only what you can see, touch, feel. Or you can have faith in what's in the spiritual realm. Faith is like a verb. We act upon what we faithfully believe. We show our faith by our works. The development of faith power is key to spiritual realization, as Fillmore said for Jesus. According to your faith, be it done to you. That's Matthew 9:29. Fillmore says that faith in spirit is to have the faith of spirit. Faith working in spiritual substance accomplishes all things. This is the faith that cooperates with creative law. When faith is exercised deep in spiritual consciousness, it finds a home. Under divine law, without variation or disappointment, it brings results that are seemingly miraculous. We need a strong, unwavering, and enduring faith in spirit. This faith is necessary foundation. It's a necessary foundation for the building up of spiritual consciousness in the individual. Simon Peter, the disciple Simon Peter, was one of the first disciples called. Faith is one of the first spiritual powers to be called upon or called into expression by everyone who would seek realization of their divine potential. Faith is the central power in the consciousness of a master. So it is upon faith, it's upon Peter. Peter, translated from the Greek, means the rock or the stone. Upon that rock, upon faith, Jesus built his church or his spiritual ideas. It's also fitting then that St. Peter stands at the gates of heaven, because Peter, or faith, he has the keys to the kingdom. Faith. So how do you develop faith? First of all, the first encouragement is to be gentle with yourself. I'm being gentle with myself when I'm learning about faith, going, I don't know how strong my faith is in different areas, but be gentle. In developing your power of faith, we all are going to start the way that Simon Peter did. Simon meant hearing, so it just meant that Simon was hearing and open. He was receptive to truth ideas and letting them grow in us until we can feel our absolute oneness with the power of faith. The goal is to feel in such a way that we no longer think in terms of having faith. You have to stop and go, do I have faith? You want to move to the point of it's there. It's always there. It's expressed automatically. So faith doesn't come all at once. It has to grow. It has to be encouraged. It must be invited and made welcome. So Simon was a crude fisherman. The metaphor, the metaphysical story there is he changed to Peter, the dedicated apostle. So the ability to trust spirit must grow in our lives. So again, we're going to have that transformation. We'll start out as Simon and end up as Peter. You don't have to change your name, but faith is built up through the denial of all doubt and fear, continuous affirmations of loyalty to the divine idea, the higher self versus loyalty to the physical self. You will vacillate back and forth, and that's to be expected. It is in your desire for spirit that you're led to the light, so you will continue to evolve. So he says if Simon Peter had concentrated only on fishing and on the physical realm, he would have never been more than a fisherman. If your faith is never exercised on a higher ideal, it will never become spiritually strong. You must have faith in your faith and depend on it in the face of adversity. And again, we're transcending intellectual knowledge. So remember, Peter kind of went from Jesus, I'll die for you, to Jesus, never heard of him, to I believe without seeing. I believe in Jesus without having to see that he's there. So Peter was all over the map. So it's expected, it's understandable that we might struggle with faith a little bit, and we might vacillate a little bit. He encourages you to guard, direct, and train your faith, however. It's kind of a little squirrely concept that will get away from you if you don't ride herd on your faith. So constantly practice, constantly challenge, train your faith. You cannot fulfill your divine plan without disciplined faith. Another way that you can develop your faith is to spend more time getting to know Spirit through prayer or meditation. Go for a walk in the woods and ask a question. Another way to improve your faith is you can continually remind yourself of what Spirit has done for you. Count your blessings. Practice gratitude. You can also see the hand of Spirit in everything and the face of Spirit in everyone. So again, these kinds of practices can help build faith. So another one that we do here is we surround ourselves with others who have faith. You can borrow faith from other people. If somebody believes enough and you can kind of suspend your disbelief long enough. I think Mary Morrissey talked about that in one of the prosperity courses, that she had renal failure and was going to die, and a chaplain came to visit, and the chaplain believed that thought could heal her, but she wasn't really believing. But she got her to kind of take a corner of his faith and say, well, okay, maybe kind of, I think it's possible that this could be. And with that faith, she was healed. And then finally, remember the mustard seed. A small amount of faith thinking can develop in consciousness until it becomes the abiding place for a higher range of thoughts. So for the coming year, I wish you faith and trust in the truth that you are a beloved child of Mother, Father, God. You are beautiful, you are healthy, prosperous, and you are enough. You are deserving and worthy of all life's blessings. And so it is. Let's move to meditation. I invite you to know your chair, believe in your chair, trust the chair that you're in, and get comfortable. And I'm borrowing an affirmative prayer from Mr. David Owen Ritz. We taught this class in the spring on prosperity. You'll take a deep breath and relax. Release all the cares of the day. They'll be there later when you need to attend to them. Allow these words to be your words. I choose to build my life upon a firm foundation of faith in God and trust in spiritual law. I acknowledge God as the ultimate source of my good and see its infinite abundance all around me. I depend upon the unwavering action of God's law in my life, and I see it at work in all my affairs. I am open to receiving greater abundance in every area of my life. I open my heart. I open my mind. I open my life. I am willing to release my old attitudes and feelings. I am willing to release my limiting beliefs. These things may have served me in some way in the past, but now they only block my good and cloud my awareness of truth. I no longer need them, and I release them freely. I am willing to clean out my life and step into the flow. I am willing to get totally out of the way. The law of circulation is the law I choose to live by. My entire life is an empty vessel, open to be filled. I trust in God to fill it abundantly. I know that my unconditional willingness will call God's faithful law into action. Every need I have is an invitation to reveal the presence of God in my life. I accept the invitation. I choose to live from the inside out, knowing the truth, acting in faith, and trusting in the outcome. And so it is. Gently return your attention back to the room. And I believe we have a